Good evening. I have just been to the cinema. Obviously, that's why I'm here. It's not the most recent film. It is the most recent film I've watched. That's not what I meant. I've seen a film that I still haven't reviewed before this one, but I haven't talked about that one yet. But now I'm going to talk about this one. So what am I here to talk about? I mean, I overcomplicated that intro, didn't I? Good grief, Charlie Brown. I am here to talk to you, ladies and gentlemen, viewers of my channel, you strange handful of followers. I'm here to talk to you about the Ballad of Wallis Island. I nearly said Ellis Island there, which is where they used to process people on their way into New York. It's definitely nothing to do with that. It is the Ballad of Wallis Island, and it is a glorious little independent British film. And as it stands now, on the 1st of June in 2025, it might actually be my favourite film of the year. Now, admittedly, we're not even halfway through the year yet, but it's a strong contender. So you may have heard of this film, you may not. Its stars have been doing a lot of press just lately, and I'm really glad that I made the effort to go and see this. I'm really glad that it's playing. Today there was only one showing of it at my local Cineworld. It is on a bit more through the week, but I'm really glad I got the opportunity to see it because it's perfect. It is a perfect, quintessentially British film. It's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. So what's it about? Well, I'll tell you, but I'll avoid spoilers because obviously that's not how I roll. Many years ago, 18 years ago in fact, friends, actors, comedians, Tim Key and Tom Basden made a short film called The One and Only Herb McGwyer Plays Wallis Island. And it was, I think, about an eccentric millionaire lottery winner who coaxes his favourite ever artist to a remote island to play a gig for him, or something to that effect. So this short film was made 18 years ago by those two actors / comedians who were mates with another friend of theirs, director James Griffiths. And 18 years later, it has been expanded out into this little slice of perfection. So the story is similar. Tim Key plays Charles Heath. He is a lottery winner. He's a deeply odd but broadly harmless man who lives on a remote island, somewhere off the coast of Britain. I mean, it's made up, obviously, but it's British. We're not talking remote, like tropical island here. We're talking like Lindisfarne vibes. So he lives on this remote island by himself in a very big house, and he is obsessed with a folk duo from the early noughties called McGwyer Mortimer. Mortimer and McGwyer? Which way around is it? McGwyer Mortimer. Yeah, McGwyer Mortimer. And they were, yes, so he is obsessed with them, and they've since split up, both in terms of their relationship and of their partnership as musicians. But Charles desperately wants to get the band back together, so he lures, first of all, Herb McGwyer, played by Tom Basden. First of all, he lures him to the island to play a special one-off gig, and then follows up with Nell Mortimer, played by Carey Mulligan, also arriving, and that's where we go from there. It turns out that the gig is actually just for Charles, nobody else. And it also turns out that Herb didn't know that Nell was coming. They haven't spoken in 9 years. And that's the premise of the film. But there's so much more to it than that. It is incredibly funny. Like, I got the giggles at one joke. I mean, I laughed a lot, but I got the giggles so badly at one joke, and somebody across the aisle from me in the cinema was also clearly just as tickled by it. And it took me ages to stop laughing at this one joke. So it's very funny, but it's also incredibly beautiful and moving and bittersweet. And it looks at like grief and loss and our attachment to the past and nostalgia. And it also has woven through it absolutely perfect folk songs all of which were written by Tom Basden and are performed throughout the film by Tom Basden and Carey Mulligan. And I'm just watching this going, why is McGwyer and Mortimer not real? Because I would have been bang into that. And like I say, there's more to it than that. There's plot points that I wouldn't reveal because it would be, you know, bad form of me to do so. I was aware of Tim Key. He is somebody who is very well known in a certain sort of arena of comedians. He's a very good friend of Ellis and John, so he's within that crowd. So I've been aware of Tim Key for a number of years. Many years ago, he actually covered for, forget who was off, but either Ellis or John was off from their Radio X show, and Tim Key covered, and it was some of the most uncomfortable radio I've ever heard in my life, because the man is not afraid of a silence, and that doesn't go down well on radio. And I just decided there and then that his sort of brand of humour wasn't for me. I know he's also a poet. I know he's very well liked and respected. I know he's popped up in lots of other things I've seen. He does act quite a bit. Alan Partridge fans will know him as Sidekick Simon. But then he's been in like quite big films like See How They Run. He pops up all over the place. If you need a bearded, eccentric, funny English guy, there's a chance you're going to find Tim Key popping up in that role. But he is so good in this. He is a man terrified of silence, ironically, considering, like I say, when he was on radio as himself, he clearly wasn't afraid of them. Charles can't leave a gap, can't leave a silence, and he just chunters incessantly, and Herb's irritation with him is so perfect. The film is written by Tim Key and Tom Basden. They've obviously known each other for a very long time, and the dynamic of those two on screen, of Herb just being at the end of his rope, realising that he's currently making music that even he doesn't like, that he is pining for this part of his life that's gone, in the same way Charles is pining for something that he's lost. And yeah, Charles just talks constantly, and it's so funny, and the film is so wonderfully, unashamedly British. There have been no compensations made for a global audience. I mean, there's about, I think there's less than 10 people in the whole film. There is one American character, but you know, references to Monster Munch and Calippo's and like really other, just really wonderfully British references. The chemistry between the central three, really. You've got the obviously the past relationship between McGwyer and Mortimer is beautifully done. Carey Mulligan is faultless as always, beautiful and believable, and has a lovely voice, which I didn't know. She is married, of course, to Marcus Mumford, so I'd imagine, you know, a fair bit of singing goes on around their gaff, and it sounds glorious, unlike when other couples sing around the house and it doesn't. And then obviously the dynamic between Tim Key and Tom Basden, because they've known each other for so long, and it's just perfect. It's really funny, but it made me cry, and the music is perfect, and I don't know where they shot it, but it is also like bleak but beautiful. I can't fault it. Everybody should see this. I really hope that really powerful, like for the comedy community, people who like Tim Key, they will go and see it, but I really hope it does well on word of mouth. And that screening I've just come out of was quite a mixed audience, older couples, you know, there was a few solo cinema goers like me, but everybody should see it. It's wonderful. Hour and 40 minutes long. It looks great. It's heartwarming. It's moving. It's really funny. And it's one of those things where I just go, God, I love cinema. And I'm so glad that films like this exist alongside your Mission Impossibles and your big Disney films and your John Wicks and your whatever else is with the huge budgets. Thank God for things like The Ballad of Wallis Island. Watch the space to see if anything topples it, but as it stands, that is going to be my film of the year. It is wonderful. High praise indeed. That's it. Thanks for watching. Katie out.